Hello, everybody. Those of you that are here, I really appreciate you coming out to see me. I know you don't really know who some of the speakers are. I'm not a really well-known celebrity, but as a very, very interesting and fascinating individual who I got to learn from in my life once said, celebrity and fame is the food and drink for psychopaths. So I'm not looking for any kind of applause, not looking for anybody to pat me on the back. I'm more interested in just sharing information that can be of benefit to anyone. If there was one person in this room, I would be up here talking. And, if there are 10 million people in this room, I'd be more nervous, but I'd still be talking. Just a little bit of history as to why I guess I am up here to a certain extent would be that I did have an encounter when I was in the Caribbean islands back in 1978 that completely and totally changed my life. Many people talk about events that changed their life, and it's always a difficult proposition to try to understand all of the different experiences, which is the history of what has taken place in my life since that experience in 1978. So it's been an evolution of learning what to me has become an understanding that there is not only an extraterrestrial presence that are influencing individuals on this planet, both positive and negative. I'm not going to talk about the negative ones, other than to say that each of us has to deal with the fears, with the anxieties, with whatever stresses that we're dealing with. That's our responsibility to work those things out. And once you have developed a certain understanding, I guess you could say, of your mind, as Socrates says, know thyself, then those fears and those anxieties begin to dissipate, and they can't really affect you. They can't really influence you anymore, no matter what it is. We're talking about people who are standing up against somebody who has a gun up against their head, and, like Socrates, rather than give in to the falsehoods that they were trying to make him admit to, he allowed himself to actually die through drinking the poison cup. So those are the kind of heroes that I want to try to, in a sense, depict in some of the information that I'm going to relate, and even, a lot of other aspects to what I've come to understand as this influence from these higher spiritual forces who also are working directly with extraterrestrials who live on physical planets like ours, but have a much more evolved both spiritual awareness and also specifically the technology that they are able to utilize. So that's a process that has to go in a specific order. So when the order gets kind of out of whack, things like nuclear bombs come into the play, where right at this moment our planet has the potential to destroy itself. And so again, that's the influences from these spiritual forces, these extraterrestrial forces, that are attempting to help us, to guide us in a direction that would lead us away from that, all the war and the anxiety that is involved in that warrior mentality. Me first. I want to have the most money. David Rockefeller just recently passed away. And David Rockefeller, I think when he started out, he was just like so many of these other individuals who saw an opportunity. There was no, 102 years ago, I don't think, fossil fuel industry was quite what it is today. So he built it up, and he was able to influence people in a way that made it into, that's the way we have to run our world on fossil fuels. And so it became comfortable for us, so we all bought into it, and we're all a part of it still, but it's changing. Things are changing. Okay, so let's get started here with my PowerPoint presentation. There'll be a lot of imagery here that I've done that, for the most part, some of it are paintings that I have done since I said that experience that I had back in the Caribbean in 1978, and I've been painting since then, and a lot of it is other stuff. So we will just go ahead and get this joke started. We live in a noisy world, right? It's hard to see past all of the influences that are constantly blasting our senses. But there is this peaceful place within our consciousness that we can find solace, that we can find this peace, this serenity. But where the heck is it? We certainly don't find it in the news that we watch on television. This is something from Thomas Edison. I know this world is ruled by infinite intelligence. Everything that surrounds us, everything that exists, proves that there are infinite laws behind it. There can be no denying this fact. It is mathematical in its precision. Now, Thomas Edison obviously is somebody who a lot of times gets thrown under the bus in relation to Nikola Tesla and the interactions that they had. But the fact of the matter was, he was one hard-working dude, man. That guy had some incredible inventions. And I had never seen him with a quote that was so profound and so powerful, because that's what I believe. I believe there is this great infinite intelligent force that is working with us. People have construed it, in my view, misconstrued it in certain religious factors, with certain religious factors involved that have come down through, for the most part, mythologies. So I'm going to go into all that. I'm going to try to break that down so we can kind of see beyond the veil. Just like, if we go back to that, the noise, all of the stuff that's going on is totally carrying a energy, a frequency that is blinding us. It's like the blinders are on and we can't see past. So how do we lift that veil? How do we begin to see past? That's what this extraterrestrial influence is all about, helping us to see beyond this illusion that the physical world is the only world that exists. And whether you believe in a religious connotation as to when you die and where you're going to go, or you're an atheist and you believe you just dissipate into nothingness, still there is these vast and incredible scientific principles that are functioning within everything, as was stated by Thomas Edison even. So we will go and investigate that a little bit more. If we go back to the beginning of things, we shall always find that the ignorance and fear created the gods, that imagination, rapture, and deception embellished them, that weakness worships them, that tyranny favors them in order to profit from the blindness of men. Baron de Holbach. I never heard of him, but I thought that was an interesting statement, because this is the history of our planet, of our, in a sense, the Roman Catholic belief system.